You know, this is just really awesome. We are beneath Highway 50. This is the bottom side of standing in Christmas Valley, and you're looking at these spot fires really causing havoc as they burn up the hillside below 50, which is bad enough. But if we swing, and I know our shot's a little bit tricky, but it's going to be tough to make it out. But you see that red behind the trees right there? That is a massive fire on the other side of Christmas Valley. That is the east side of Christmas Valley on the other side of Highway 89, which was a contingency in the plans. They wanted to try to hold this fire at 89. That has not happened, and it has not happened in spectacular fashion. I was standing around a small group of firefighters that are based out of Zephyr Cove on the Nevada side of Lake Tahoe, and they were the first ones to sort of gasp when they saw it, and one of them said, "That's going to Nevada." That was his just first honest gut reaction, because when you see a fire move that far from spotting and really get going like that, honestly, that's not an unreasonable expectation that he's got. You know, this thing is just moving faster than anyone really could have thought, you know, just years ago. And now we're seeing fires do things that we've just not seen them do before. Down here in Christmas Valley, for those familiar, I'm along the South Upper Truckee Road, just a little bit south of Celio Ranch. So this is where you start to get into a thicker little bit of neighborhood area. We are not aware of structures lost in this immediate vicinity, but there is a pretty long north-south stretch here, and we now have this fire established on the 89 side. We've got to worry about neighborhoods outside of Christmas Valley already, which is a pretty big concern. That we were concerned enough when we thought that this fire might get established in Christmas Valley and then make its way out of here. It's already a leapfrog over, which is not good.
Brandon, you were also incredibly familiar with this area. Your folks even evacuated. What has been the most surprising thing to you so far covering the Caldor Fire today and what you've seen?
I mean, for me, every place that's being threatened right now is something I knew could be threatened by a wildfire, and it fully expected to see potentially burn in my lifetime, but not in one fire. That's the crazy thing about the Caldor Fire, is that it's burning over by Kirkwood, by Silver Lake, by Echo. It's burning parts of Desolation Wilderness. It's now leapfrogged Christmas Valley. It's burning just absolute treasured wilderness that, you know, frankly, I grew up loving. So it's really just kind of surreal, and it hasn't sunk in yet, the magnitude of this fire. But this is Northern California's moment to really start to appreciate what we mean when we talk about mega fires. You know, sometimes when they happen a little bit distant, or in places that maybe not as many of the population are familiar with, we go, oh gosh, that's a whole lot of acres. Well, now you're learning what a whole lot of acres looks like right in our backyard, right in the playground for so many of us who live in Northern California. And it looks like that. It looks like threatening virtually every place that I grew up going to, at least in this part of the Sierra, all at once. And it's really quite something to behold. It's surprising to see it move as quickly as it has. I'm heartened to see that it's moving sort of in fits and spots, but you know, that can turn south in a hurry. So, you know, right now the fight is on to save Lake Tahoe, and you know, if one needs to you know, that little extra push to take this seriously, or to think, you know, maybe I will get out, just look back at what's happened with the Dixie Fire.
Exactly.
There is not a lot of daylight between this fire and Dixie.
It's just heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking, Brandon. We just cannot thank you enough for the work that you're doing to try to provide the perspective for what's happening with this fire. I do want to get over to our John Bartel, though. I understand, John, you are on the move. You are having to relocate because things are just getting too dangerous. Bring us up to speed, John.
Yeah, guys, I don't know if sorry, we just had the fire crews were very stern with us. We needed to get down the hill, so we just did, and let me tell you, it is extremely hairy. I don't know if you can get out the door here, Rory. Sorry, we just had to go at this point. We're now at a safe point, but I just want to give you an idea of what we just drove through up here. This is a lot of this burned material all up. This is the road we just came on. You can see falling rocks. You can see a lot of these trees. So obviously we definitely needed to get out of there, and we're going to be making our way back down towards Lake Tahoe here, where we have take a little bit more shelter here. But it is extremely smoky. It is extremely windy, guys, here. and just take a look up the road here. So right above us, this is that firefight that all of those crews are working on at Echo Summit Lodge right there. That is where all of those flames are headed here. Now we're below Echo Summit Lodge. We're right here on Highway 50, and this fire continues to go. This way, what we're looking at right here, it's very hard to see, but this is Christmas Valley. This is heading towards Myers. This is where Brandon's at. This is where Van is at down here. We're just, we're behind the fire essentially, and so it's going in the wrong direction here. But in these crews, they're gonna themselves need to get out of here pretty soon. And I do believe we're actually in the road, so we're probably going to move because when they come down here, they're going to be screaming, guys.
I was just going to say, John, if you want, you can just jump back in that car and you make your way down the hill, please, sir, because this is one of those scenarios where things are actively developing. We have to take safety first. Please, you jump back in the car. We'll check back in once you get to a safer spot. Madison, this is real time here. This is very dangerous stuff.
Dangerous, scary, devastating, all of those things and above as we are continuing to follow the Caldor Fire. Let's go back to our van 2, tracking the very latest from the bottom of the Christmas Valley area in Myers. I believe she's at a Caltrans headquarters down there, Van. A lot of spot fires, a lot of personnel working to protect those homes and those buildings and businesses where you're standing.
Yeah, Madison, and Cal Fire officials say you can expect these spot fires to keep progressing all night long. Again, I am at the Caltrans maintenance station in South Lake Tahoe, just off of Highway 89. This is looking at east at the hill behind the station here. And just to reiterate just how dire this is, this morning when the Cal Fire had their operations briefing this morning, laying out all of their goals, their goal was to keep the fire west of Highway 89, and as you can see, it is now east. So again, it is very smoky, but I'm looking at this hill. You can see the smoke columns moving sideways, indicating that the wind is pushing these spot fires again. And there is a common misconception that, you know, it would be a wall of fire coming down the summit here, but really what we're really dealing with this wind event are embers that have been really consistently moving 3/4 of a mile to a mile. So this is starting, excuse me, there's a little mix of minus in my ear here, about a mile. So these spot fires will continue hopping eastward as this wind event progresses. Again, I want to add that hill that we are looking at right now is about half a mile away from structure. So obviously the Caltrans station here, as well as homes that are off Cornelian Way, I believe. So these homes are under direct threat. What we are seeing on the ground now in terms of structure protection, a lot of dozers and hand crews starting to mobilize around this area. We can hear chainsaws off in the distance. But again, this terrain is very difficult to work with. This fire, the spot fire, is up in the hills. Crews are not going to get up there. So what they are really focusing on now is down here on the ground, being sure to protect the homes here. I'm going to have Miguel, our cameraman here, show you all of these flames that are starting to pick up. It's just a really frightening scene here, Madison. I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit difficulty hearing you at this moment.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, it's just so dark where you're also standing. It's normally pretty light out right now. I mean, we can see just outside of our station, it's light, and now it's really dark where you're standing. And it looks like you're maybe hearing an echo of us right now. But again, Van is covering this from the Caltrans station right there in South Lake Tahoe. As you can see, fire surrounding on the hillside.
And Van, again, if at any moment you feel unsafe, please let us know. This is live, rolling, breaking news coverage now that we are seeing these conditions unfold as they have, Van. And so we are going to our crews stationed all across the region, just getting updates from you all as we do rolling, breaking news coverage, because obviously this situation is deteriorating as we speak. Can you give us an idea of what firefighters are telling you about this thing? So many times we're hearing now that this is now an actual combat firefight that they have on their hands, and they don't have any aerial apparatus to try and tackle this thing.
Yeah, I mean, you can see just Yeah, you can just see how smoky it is. It will be impossible for any air attack to happen in this kind of smoke environment. Now, what firefighters have been telling me, they even from this morning, they want people to know that this is the real deal. This is serious. One of the chiefs with the Cal Fire Department earlier today said, you know, last night with a lesser wind event, the fire moved and progressed about 8 miles. So that should really be a wake-up call for folks. And I also want to add, when this spot fire was first reported, it was only roughly about 2 hours after the evacuation traffic in South Lake Tahoe finally started to thin out.